Hello and welcome to my first video of 2024. It's been a while since I made a video. It almost feels weird when you take so long and then you come back to making videos. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope the 60 days of January is going well. And for this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you things I've noticed to be differences between driving in Kenya and driving here in the UK. So I moved to the UK. I've been driving here for the last maybe 4 months. But I've been driving in Kenya for like 10 years plus. So yeah, there's a bit of differences which I'm going to talk about. And this video is by no means any criticism of either countries. It's more just of an observation that I've noticed. So let's get started with the short ride to a parking lot somewhere and then back, because that is the only journey that I have memorized without using the sat nav. It's 2:51 p.m. and yeah, here in the UK, you really don't have much time to do things during the day, during winter, because in the next maybe like 1 hour it's going to be completely dark, because it gets dark like 3:30 p.m. So yeah, let's get moving. Okay, let's do the drive. It took me like 20 minutes trying to set up the camera. Yeah, it's clearly starting to get dark and I'm not yet even started. Anyway, the first thing I'd say I've noticed about driving in the UK that is different from driving in Kenya, that will be the cars. The cars here are more nicer looking or more newer. And basically what I'd imagine is the tax system maybe here is very low when you're buying a new car compared to buying in Kenya. Because even when you check online, like when you want to buy a car, it's, you know, a car like, let's say a Range Rover, that is going to cost you, a brand new one here is going to cost you maybe like 80,000, 100,000 thereabouts. While in Kenya, that is going to cost you like 300,000 pounds. So you can imagine that is very, very, very expensive. Oh yeah, I'm trying to join the road and it's quite busy. So when driving here on the road, you can see more newer car brands. Now, for context, if you're not from Kenya, in Kenya we do import cars that are 7 years old, or is it 8 years old? So basically, what people do, let's say I want to buy a car in Kenya, I'll buy a 2016 car model. That is what we'd consider to be new. So you'll most likely import that car from Japan. But if it's, let's say, like a high-end car, like the Range Rovers and the likes, the German cars, then those cars you'd buy maybe from the UK or Malaysia, or even Dubai sometimes, but most common will be UK and Malaysia. But here the cars, most of them are quite newer models, so you know, it's a good thing. If you really love cars, you get to see more of those newer cars which you maybe will rarely see in Nairobi. So if you know you're a person that loves cars, you know, that's a good thing. Like the car in front of me is an Audi A5, probably a 2018 model. That's what I'm guessing anyway. 2018, 2019, thereabouts. I'm waiting again to join another road, which actually this should bring me to my second point that I've noticed, which is a difference between driving here in the UK and driving in Kenya. And that is, there's quite a lot of thin roads here in the UK. People call them back roads. So basically a road like the one I'm driving on, this one is more wider, but you know, when I move forward a bit, you can see it's getting a bit slimmer, and this is quite common. So if you don't want to drive on the highways, most roads will be quite thin, and even in some areas it's like, you know, only one car can move, so you have to be very careful. And also there's so many winding roads, like you can see that corner, there's so many winding roads. But that is because I'm in Scotland, and Scotland is quite a hilly place, which makes sense for this to be the topography. It's really getting dark. Yeah, I should have thought of this way earlier during the day. And today the sun was out, which again is more of a rare occurrence during winter. Usually it's just very, very cloudy. So yeah, I hope I'll be able to make it to that car park and back before it gets completely dark. Another thing I've noticed about driving in the UK compared to driving in Kenya is there's so many roundabouts, like it's crazy. And where I am, doesn't even have the highest number of roundabouts. For example, here, this is one roundabout. So in this small section, there's maybe like 4 or 5 roundabouts. Oh, I even forgot to indicate. So let's go. This is the first roundabout, and then I'm going to be joining the second one just in a short distance. So here is the second roundabout. Actually, this is oh no, it's not a double roundabout, because there's places where there's a double roundabout, which is just total chaos in my mind. That is second roundabout, and then straight ahead again, another maybe like 50 meters, there's a third roundabout. And at that point I'll be joining the highway, so there won't be any other roundabout, but you get the picture. So there's some areas, especially when you're close to residential areas, it's like there's a small roundabout maybe every 100 meters or every 200 meters, which, since I'm still new to driving here, sometimes it can be very, very confusing, especially those small ones. Once in a while I've forgotten that they exist, because it's very tiny, so you sort of notice it just at the last minute. So yeah, here's the fourth roundabout. Oh, I could have gone. Yep, I'm good to go. And now I'm going to join the highway. Yep, finally. So there's no other roundabout here for quite some distance. Yeah, I'm lucky with the sun today so far, that is, but it's going to be short-lived. Yeah, the speed limit on the highway is 70 miles per hour, which is like 110 kilometers per hour, so not very different from Kenya. Yeah, that truck is flying. Jeez, I'm doing what, 57? So they're fine. But when it comes to the roundabouts, it makes sense for there to be so many roundabouts, because roundabouts are safer. They reduce the traffic a lot, especially again in residential areas, because you have to drive at a certain speed. You won't be flying over the roundabouts, and that greatly reduces accidents, especially pedestrians being hit. So yeah, it might be annoying as a driver going through all these roundabouts, but as a driver, there are also times when you walk, so it makes total sense for there to be several roundabouts, which, yeah, it keeps pedestrians safe. There's a place close to London which has so many roundabouts. I think at this point it's maybe even a tourist attraction, because it's crazy. There's like, I don't know, like 8 roundabouts in just one small area. That's insanity, which at some point I'll want to go there and drive there. Now that I'm on the highway, that can lead me to my other point, and that is there's so many speed cameras. I was told that maybe it's some kind of a business, for the government, because you keep getting tickets for overspeeding, and then they just send it to your mail. Like, there's nobody talking to you at any point. You do the infraction, they send you an invoice to your home, with the fine that you are supposed to pay, which I don't know, like, I've been lucky so far. I haven't experienced that, and to be honest, I don't want to, because those fines can be crazy. And also they deduct points from your driving license, and the more points they deduct, it can reach a point when you won't be allowed to drive. So I don't want to take that risk, especially since I'm driving with a Kenyan driving license, by the way. I don't have a UK driving license yet. So what I did is I applied for the international driving license, and that is what I've been using to drive here. I have the one for 1 year, but at some point, maybe in a few months, I'll apply for the driving license, because if I have that, then it means I can drive pretty much in any country in the world without needing to apply for the international driving license. So yeah, I'll be doing that at some point. But yeah, coming up is a speed camera for 70 miles per hour. I don't know why I almost said 70 meters per hour. That would be insane. But yeah, there's a speed camera. So in just this highway from where I am to the airport, I think there's like, I don't know, 4 or 5 speed cameras. So yeah, that's a lot. Again, for context, in Kenya, I think there's only like 4 speed cameras in the entire country, and I know where all of them are. So yeah, most of the time I've been flying, even though I've been arrested several times because of overspeeding. But what happens is a policeman will stand somewhere in the bushes with a speed gun. So they'd pop up randomly in different areas in the highway. Then you'd be arrested for overspeeding. And sometimes the speed limit also changes, because it can be maybe that road you used to doing 70, but maybe there's a new law that just came up, now it's 50, and you're like, I didn't know that. But then, usually there's no negotiations with those guys, so you just have to pay the fine. I like this car that it shows me when I'm close to the speed camera. So there's the speed camera on my left. I hope that camera has caught it. So I'm doing 67, so I should be fine. Yep, I should be fine. Otherwise, sometimes you just see the flash going off when people are over speeding, and all those guys will get a ticket for that. Oh, it's so lovely. Such a lovely day. Another thing that I've noticed while driving in the UK after moving here from Kenya is all car adverts that I've seen on TV, all of them are of electric cars or hybrid cars. I've never seen a single advert of a car that is like diesel or petrol. Never. They usually just write down in the corner like options, in bracket options, like the small thing like for no smoking, or smoking kills or whatever. So they just put in bracket optional versions of maybe diesel or petrol available. But for the cars themselves, I've never seen any advert of a diesel or a petrol car, which is, I'd say it's the future anyway, because everybody is going electric. Even in Kenya right now, so many matatus have started to turn electric, which I support. I think it's a good thing. But I don't know, for a personal car, I still don't think I'd buy an electric car. And here's my problem with electric cars. I remember last year, actually I was here, I had visited last year for the first time, and we had driven to Manchester. But then on the way back, there was a petrol station where we stopped at. I can't remember if it was to fuel or to buy maybe just a few things to eat. And at that petrol station, there was like, I don't know, 50 electric cars all lining up waiting for the chargers to charge their cars. And to me, I was like, yeah, I don't think I'd want to experience that. Oh, there's another speed camera coming up. I wouldn't want to experience doing that, considering again, when you're fueling your car, how long does it take? It's like 5 minutes from zero to full tank. But that is not the case for electric cars. For electric cars, you're basically talking sitting at one point for like at the minimum 30 minutes if you're using a supercharger. So that will take you from 0 to like 80% in 30 minutes. But if you want to fill it to 100%, now you're talking about 1 hour. Now, I have never done a stopover of 1 hour. Why would I do that? And that, to me, is my biggest problem with electric cars so far. So I feel like electric cars are good, but until they manage to bring the charging time down to 15 minutes maximum, I think that is the maximum time you should be able to wait for a car to be fully charged, especially if you're doing a long road trip. But if it's just a personal car, a small car, let's say the BMW i3 or the Nissan Leaf, or these other small cars which have only like 150 miles range, for those cars I think it's fine to stand at some point and charge for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. That's fine, because again, most of the time you'll be charging those cars at home. So overnight you'll be connecting it to your mains, and then you charge the car. Another observation of driving in the UK compared to driving in Kenya is most of the roads are very well marked, and this personally has always been my beef with the National Highways Authority in Kenya, and that is, they always complain that people drive badly, or they say people need to be more careful. So a lot of blame has always been passed to us, the drivers, but they seem to almost never take responsibility of any wrongdoing. And personally, I think one of the biggest issues is the road markings. For example, I used to really love doing the road trip from Nairobi to Mombasa. It's something I used to do quite often. And if you've driven that road, you know that several places the road is well marked, but then there's places where it's terrible, like when going towards Mchitwande or even from Mchitwande to Voi. There's several places there, if you're driving, especially at night, when the road is not marked, and then you can't also see the road edges because there's no marking on the road edges. So it's very easy for you and again, there's probably like potholes on the road edges, which makes it even worse. So you can imagine you're driving and then there's a truck coming towards you, so you have to move maybe slightly to the edge, and then you end up hitting the rough road edges. It's just total chaos, and I think that leads to more accidents more than even like whatever people are doing or how people are driving. So I think it will be a very good thing if they marked all the roads, not just the highways, even the roads that go to the estates and all that, because there's some kind of discipline that you end up having instilled in you when the roads are well marked. For example, here the road is well marked, so for me to drive like in the middle of the road, I'm sure I'll feel stupid, plus also just other people will be looking at me wondering like, what exactly are you doing? So yeah, it makes sense for them to just do that. And yeah, that's one thing I'd say I like about here. Most of the roads are well marked, not all of them, but most of them are very well marked. Actually, where I am on the other side, there's like massive potholes, which I don't know how long they're going to take to fix them, because yeah, it's very deep potholes. And this is close to the airport, so you can imagine that's a place where people drive very often. And finally, since I'm close to the parking at the airport, finally, my last point is, I'd say people are more courteous when driving, and also people follow all the rules. Again, for us Kenyans, you know what they say, for us rules are more of suggestions. It doesn't mean you have to follow it really, which I know it's a bad thing even to say aloud, but there's always that sort of push and tug of how far can you stretch the limits. Oh, okay, yeah, I'm going to fit. So those are cars which people maybe have just left there and then they went to the airport, or they're maybe not even in the country. But this is like a proper parking lot, and this parking lot is free. So if I come here, I can park the car and then just walk a short distance there, and I can get a train to wherever. Oh, there's a car here with a map of Africa. Nice. So yeah, I can get a train there and go to like Edinburgh City. So that's a good thing, which I hadn't written that as a point, but I can maybe add it because I think it's a very good thing. Like, there's so many free parking lots, which help to discourage people from having to drive their cars to the main town center. So you can come here, leave your car. There's several also close to where people stay. You leave your car somewhere and then you just take a bus, or you take the train to the main town center. So yeah, I'll park here for like a few minutes. There you go. Oh, I haven't seen the sun in I don't know how many days, so honestly I can actually just sit here until that sun disappears, which will be in another only 30 minutes. Anyway, as I was saying about the parking lots, yeah, this is a good idea, because also in Nairobi, I'm sure several governors or several politicians have always wanted to try to decongest Nairobi, but it seems like everyone is not able to come up with a proper plan on how to do it, because matatus always want to be in town, which I support. Matatus should be in town, otherwise I don't know how exactly a matatu will leave you 5 kilometers away from town, and then you have to walk or get another matatu that takes you to town. I don't know, to me the logic doesn't really make sense. But now also people with personal cars don't want to be excluded from going to town. People want to drive their cars to town. But again, matatu carries 32 people, while a car carries only one person most likely. So that's a lot of space being wasted in town for honestly what I think is no reason. So I don't know, maybe they should have created parking lots outside of town, but not for matatus, but for personal cars. And then you leave your personal car. Let's say if you're using Jogoo Road, let's say there was a parking lot at what's the name of that, City Stadium, close to City Stadium, or if you are using Mombasa Road just before Nyayo Stadium, there was a parking lot there. You leave your car, and then from there you can get a matatu to town, or a small train that will take you to town. Because in the long run, it also means when you're leaving town, it's the same thing. You're going to take the matatu or the train back to the car, and then from the car back home. So it means there won't be that lots of traffic in one area of everyone leaving at the same time. It can take you like almost even 1 hour, 1 hour 30 minutes just leaving town. You're not even getting to your place, just leaving town. For example, let's say you park at the Holy Family Basilica. This has happened to me several times. I park there, then I want to leave, but leaving the parking itself, that's going to take you 15 minutes because it's 5 p.m. Everyone has left work. Everyone is leaving the parking lot, and then after that you have to wait another, I don't know how long, just to merge to the road and then to drive around. Just exiting town can take you at least an hour, and then you join Mombasa Road, and then that's another 1 hour, 1 hour 30 minutes. So basically you've wasted 2 hours 30 minutes of your evening seated in traffic. So yeah, I'd agree, like having I can see the train, although I don't think my camera can capture it. It's quite far, but you get the point. So it would be a good thing if we implemented that. And my last observation of driving here in the UK is there's so many manual cars here, especially if you want to buy like an older car. Most of them are manual. I don't know why that's the case, but you rarely find like automatic cars. Like they're there, you can find them, yes, but they'll be a higher price compared to a manual car. Again, I don't know why that's the case. So let's say I was looking at a car like a model that is from anything, let's say from the 2018 or even 2019 model going backwards. A car like that will cost, let's say you find one for £2,000. That's like what, 300,000 shillings. Most likely it's manual, but if you try to find the automatic version of it, it's going to be maybe 30% extra, or even maybe let's say 15-30% extra. So that's why a lot of people just end up buying manual cars. Like even if you check most of the websites, most of them are manual cars. And lastly, that will be financing. Getting car finance here, I'd say I haven't tried it, but I'd say it's quite easy. Like you get to see so many adverts, you get to see so many posters and things like that of car financing, and car financing is actually very, very I'd confidently say it's very, very cheap compared to buying a car, let's say in Kenya. And I'd imagine that's why also getting a new car here is easier, because finding the financing is easy, finding the financing is also cheap. So you're more motivated to buy a brand new car compared to buying like a very old car. But in Kenya, finding car financing nowadays, it's way, way better. Like most car yards give you financing, but it's still like quite high. The cost is quite high, because let's say you want to buy a car that you're going to use for Uber. That's, let's say, a Toyota Passo. Currently it's going for 800,000 shillings, which is like £5,000 for starters, and that is a Toyota Passo 2016 model. For starters, £5,000 you can find, I think, a brand new Toyota Passo here if you search, or maybe a 2021 2020 model if it exists. But then the financing for that monthly in Kenya, you'll be paying 60,000 a month. So while here, that's in pounds. This conversion of pounds to shillings is a lot of work. So let's say especially now that the pound, the Kenyan shilling has quite depreciated. So the pound is like, £1 is equivalent to 200 shillings in Kenya. That is up from, it used to be 150 shillings or 140. Now it's 200. So it's crazy times. But a Range Rover financing, you can pay maybe like £800 here in the UK. So that's like 160,000 shillings. But in Kenya, the same car, you're going to pay like, I don't know, if you decide to finance that, you'll be paying at minimum £2,000 a month, which is just insane to pay for a car. But yeah, for older cars, it's very easy to get financing here, and it's a good thing. So it means, let's say you got a job where you need to have a car, like, urgently, so that you move around, especially during winter. It's really a convenience having a car during winter to move around, especially if you don't stay very close to where you work, or if there's a walking distance before you get to the main road, or sometimes the buses are not there. So it makes sense, to get a cheap car quickly that you can use to move around. So on that, it makes total sense to get the financing. Just get any reasonable car that is in good condition, and you're good to go. And yeah, that actually just made me think of another point, and that is, I'm torn between if the transport system in the UK is good or if it's bad, especially the public transport. In Kenya, we have matatus, and matatus go pretty much anywhere. They will pick you up from any point, and for most routes, they work until very late, maybe like, I don't know, 1 a.m. While here, buses, the moment it gets to 11 p.m., then the waiting time gets longer and longer. So yeah, I'm actually torn, because initially I used to think, like, the transport system is very, very efficient, but after being here for quite some time, I'm actually doubting if that's the case when it comes to public transport. Because especially, I remember during Christmas, most of the buses were not working, and you're like, so many guys that I work with were inconvenienced by that, because there's no bus, or instead of waiting for 15 minutes, now you have to wait for like 1 hour to get a bus. And yeah, I don't know, that's why I'm torn if it's good or if it's bad. Like, I'm really not sure. But there's bus stops everywhere, and then also the routes are quite weird. Like, from where I stay, I can't get a bus that goes to the main town center, Edinburgh, that is direct. I have to use the minimum 2 buses. Or even if I wanted to use a train, I have to take a bus to the train station, or you drive to the train station, leave the car, take the train, or you take a bus to the train station. I can walk it, but that's like a 30-40 minutes walk, so it's not really practical, and that's why I'm a bit not sure if it's efficient or if it isn't. So I guess that's something I'll know over time, because it just made me realize matatus are actually very, very, very efficient, despite all the things we say about matatus, because there's a matatu almost every second. There's like 20 of them at any given point in a bus terminus, just waiting for you to fill it up, even though that can take time sometimes. But there's always a matatu somewhere that is going somewhere else. But that's not really the case for buses here. I think that actually summarizes it. So here, you have to pre-plan in advance. You just can't you just can't like be like, oh, I want to go to, let's say Edinburgh, and leave the house just now and go to the bus station, because I won't know if there's a bus there for the next 15 minutes or 30 minutes or 1 hour. I have no idea. You have to pre-plan in the house in advance, to look at the apps to see, is there a bus going this way or not? If not, is there another one from another station? Anyway, so you get the idea. So yeah, I think that concludes all the things that I've come to notice about driving in the UK so far. What do you think? Are you a person from Kenya? What do you think of this video? If you're a person from the UK and you've watched this, yeah, tell me, what do you think? Leave them in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video. Actually, I'm going to make 2 videos, which are not really something I often do, and that one will be how to apply for, this is mostly for people in Kenya and other parts of Africa, how to apply for a tourist visa for the UK and other European countries, because it's mayhem. Trust me, there's like a million documents you need. And also, I'll maybe do another video on how to prepare yourself for a job in the UK or other places, considering that's a big thing currently in Kenya, where even politicians are like, there's jobs in all these other countries, we want you to go and get jobs there. So yeah, I'll maybe do those 2 videos. And is there any other video that I need to do? Yeah, after those 2 videos, I think that's it. I want to get back to what I do, which is doing road trips, camping, you know, visiting places and all that kind of stuff. So be sure to subscribe. And yeah, again, if you watch this far, please go to the comment section and give me ideas of what you'd want to watch or what you'd want me to talk about. Yeah, leave them in the comment section below, because yeah, okay, this video is now very long. Until then, see you next time.